The buck stops here. That was a phrase that President Harry S. Truman had on his desk. And it was his leadership philosophy of how a person should lead. When a president makes a decision or refuses to make a decision, he is responsible for the consequences of that, however well other people may implement his plans. It's a good view of leadership. Well, let's consider our current president's actions on that statement. I'm going to give you a short timeline because things have been happening quickly. On January 30th, in concerns of the coronavirus, President Trump reassures the nation, saying, "We have it very well under control. We have very little problems at this moment, just 5 cases, and those people are all recuperating successfully." 11 days later, February 10th, he said, "It looks like by April, in theory, when it gets warmer, it will just miraculously go away." 9 days later, February 19th, "I think the numbers are getting progressively better as we go along." I'm not sure where those numbers were, but 4 days later, February 23rd, he says, "We have things very much under control." February 26th, he says, on the numbers, "We're going down, not up. We're going substantially down, not up. People are recovering." And we'll also remember that he wanted to keep the cruise line patients out of the country because he didn't want them being counted in our country. He wanted us to have our numbers down because low numbers are good, high numbers are bad. Well, 2 days after that, February 28th, Trump at a campaign rally says they, the Democrats, tried the impeachment hoax. This is their new hoax. President Trump saw the Democrats as the enemy, not the coronavirus. 2 days later, March 1st, the United States reaches 2 deaths, just 2 deaths. And when asked about it 5 days after that, he says, "I'm not concerned at all, not at all." 1 day after that, the United States reaches 21 deaths. In 1 week, from 2 deaths to 21, and he's not concerned. March 10th, he says, "It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away." March 10th, 3 weeks ago, it will go away. The very next day, the World Health Organization declares a global pandemic. All countries need to be concerned. The next day after that, March 12th, the Dow Jones and markets all around the world crashed by 10%. March 13th, Trump declares a national emergency, setting aside $50 billion in federal resources to help fight this coronavirus. States close schools, restaurants, health clubs, public spaces are closed. We practice social distancing. This is just 2 weeks ago. March 15th, we reached 65 deaths. March 23rd, 1 week ago, 413 deaths. March 30th, yesterday, we hit 2,500 deaths in our country alone. 500 people are dying every single day in this country from the coronavirus. And this is still increasing. Even with social distancing, we could hit 2,000 people dying every single day in the middle of April. This is the future that we have to face, according to the models. And our president has stood in denial for weeks, reluctantly at every step trying to step forward. But actually yesterday he came into some acceptance. He said, "We can expect by June 1st we will be well on our way to recovery." And he said, "I kept asking and they did models. And these models show 2.2 million people could have died." Those models still existed back in January, those 2.2 million. And so if we could hold that down to say 100,000 people, a horrible number, maybe even less, but maybe between 100 and 200,000, we altogether have done a very good job. President Trump said we have done a very good job if only 100,000 people die. Do you think President Trump would be saying this if Hillary Clinton was president at the moment? Would he say we have done a very good job? If President Clinton had denied there was any problem for 6 weeks and then reluctantly stepped forward at every step? There's some confusion here. So the buck stops where exactly? Well, I can imagine what President Trump would say if he imagined Hillary Clinton was in the same situation. He might come to the same agreement that I have, that the buck should stop here. When the president fails this badly, he or she should acknowledge responsibility. So whether it was Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump at this point with our situation, here's what I suggest would show where the buck stops. The president could say, I am responsible. I am sorry I made my desires for re-election more important than the health of our nation. I thought positive thinking would help, but I was wrong. I vow to do my best for the next 7 months to help our country get through this, but I cannot run for re-election at the same time I am fighting this terrible scourge. Therefore, I withdraw my bid for re-election. This country deserves better than we have done, and I encourage other leaders less concerned about their own power to step forward. The buck would stop there. If Hillary Clinton said that, the buck would stop there. If Donald Trump said that, the buck would stop there. Having the president step down from re-election would not stop our epidemic. It would not solve any of the problems that we have faced, but would show what true leadership looks like. Failure is failure. And when you fail this badly, you take responsibility for it. And when you see a leader do that, the leaders that follow will know how to do it. I encourage President Trump to do what he knows Hillary Clinton should have done. Thank you.